Nice to meet you. Are you ready to get started?
Sure, come on in.
All right, great.
Yeah.
Is it okay if I set my things down
Yes.
at the kitchen table?
Please do.
Fantastic.
Do you have a side you prefer?
This is fine.
Okay, perfect.
All right, great. You know, Melissa, what I would like to do, since we didn't really have a chance to speak too much before, I would like to leave you some information, and I would like to go back to the front door and then walk through the house by myself. I'd like to take some notes, and that way I can compare what I've seen in the neighborhood with what your house has to offer.
Perfect, thank you.
All right, so what I have here are some comparables.
Okay.
I'd like you to take a look at those, and then that way we can go back to any questions you might have.
Okay,
Okay.
sounds great. And
All
if
right.
you have any questions about the house, I'd be happy to answer them for you.
Okay.
My house is amazing. We've done so much. So if you need me to tell you what upgrades we've done, I'd love to.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you. So at this point, what I would do is I would walk the entire house. I would take notes from every single room, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Okay? I need to know what has been done that sets this house apart from the other homes in the neighborhood. Okay? And what I've done is I've taken control of the appointment because I've told Melissa what I want her to do. Okay? All right, great. So Melissa, did you have any questions about the information that I put together for you?
Actually, no, it's pretty detailed. I mean, I guess I really don't understand what I'm looking at.
Okay, great. So let's do this. Let's take a look at
Okay,
the beginning of the comparables.
okay,
What I did is I went into our MLS and I focused on your neighborhood first.
Okay.
But I didn't find any comparable sales in your neighborhood. I did find a couple that are currently listed, but they're not model matches.
okay,
So then what I did is I expanded my search area to find other homes that are in the area that a buyer's agent might also want to take a client to that I believe is comparable to your home.
okay,
Okay, so what I did is I drew a polygon and I found homes that were of like square footage to yours. So your home is 1,788 square feet, 4-bedroom, 2-story, okay?
Okay.
All right, so what I found is there is one active home in the neighborhood and it's 2,000 square feet. So it is considerably larger than yours.
Okay.
And being active, it was placed on the market on January 28th. We haven't received any offers. It's not under contract, so we don't know what that's going to sell for.
What did the inside of that look like? Was it anywhere near as nice as mine?
It's about the same, honestly.
Okay,
Okay, so this next one we have is 2,300 square feet. Again, it's a little larger, but the reason I put this in, this is active in your neighborhood.
okay,
So there are no homes that are your square footage that are active in the neighborhood. So a buyer has to decide, do they want to pay this price for that house? And what you can see is this one at 2,000 square feet is listed at 394,000. And this one listed at, that's 2,381 square feet, is listed at 449,000.
okay,
Okay? All right. So what we want to do here is look at some other properties that are in the neighborhood. Now this one is under contract. So they listed this house back on February 2nd at 410. It's 1,725 square feet, but it's only 3 bedrooms. So
okay.
a little smaller, one less bedroom, listed at 410, and it's under contract.
Well, how come that one's under contract when the other one is bigger in the same neighborhood? Or no, it's not in the same neighborhood, right?
Correct.
Oh, okay, so maybe my neighborhood's a little bit more desirable then.
It could be that, or it could be when they were placed on the market. Sometimes when a home is placed on the market, if it's overpriced, it will sit on the market until the market comes to the price.
Okay,
And we'll see that when we look at days on market,
okay,
all right? This home is also under contract. Again, it's a little larger, 2,321 square feet. This one is in your neighborhood, another 4-bedroom. They listed this one, look, back all the way in October. So this is now February. So this has been on the market for a minute, but they listed it at 449,000. So that tells me that back in October, the buyers are not interested in that house at that price,
okay,
okay? So now we're gonna get into some of the solds. So this one, 1788, is a model match to your home. It was listed back in November at $389,000. Now, it has sold. It sold in December, so basically a month on the market,
Okay.
and it sold for $395. So listed at $389, sold for $395. And why I believe that happened is we have less homes on the market, so our buyers are competing.
Okay.
Now,
How is the inside of that one? Is it like mine? Does it show just as nicely as mine?
this one is comparable.
Okay.
So this one is now under contract. So again, it was listed at $365,000, 2,043 square feet, but again, 4-bedroom, a little larger. We need to wait on that. It was listed back in November, and since it's under contract today, I have to believe that it sat for a while until the market came to it. Here is another active at 2,100 square feet, 460,000, and it is still active. So the market, it was placed on the market in January. So again, buyers are looking at price and thinking that 460 is probably too high of a price point.
Well, how come it seems like the prices are all over the place? How do you even figure it out?
Well, what I try to do is pin it down to square footage and model matches. And then I would like to see what our competition is. So these that are active are the only homes available in the area.
Okay.
And the ones that are under contract, until they're sold, if they fall out, they become our competition again.
Okay.
So this one is a sold. So this one, 1788, it's another model match. It was listed way back in April of last year for 330. And the reason I put this in is it took 3 months to sell this one. And we're gonna see the price increase from 330. This one sold for 355, a $20,000 increase in list over sale. So now we have another sold. This one is a model match. It was listed in September at 349, and it sold in November for
361.
361. So this one actually went down, or actually, I'm looking at this upside down, so it went up as well.
Yes.
So another sold, model match 1788, listed in December for 390, sold in January at 395.
I just don't understand why the same house would sell for so much less.
Well, if we go back in time, we can see from last April until September, we have been increasing in price. So, based on the comparables that you selected for the report, the computer drags in number of bedrooms, number of bathrooms, number of square footage, and starts to crunch numbers for us. Because what we want to see is what is actually happening with our market. This is a graph that is showing you the days on the market. If the home is priced properly, you can see that homes are selling in less than 20 days. From 0 to 20 here. Then these three, again, these are those properties that have been on the market for a while, because I believe at the time they were listed, they were overpriced for our market.
Okay.
Now, this is a price graph that shows you the difference in the list price versus the sales price. And again, you will see that almost each one had a bump up that did sell, because we have more buyers than we do sellers. If we price the house properly, it will encourage more buyers to make offers, and they will bid that up probably a lot higher than what they would have if they were making, looking at a higher priced property. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So this is another chart that breaks down the actives, the under contracts, and the sold. It breaks down their square footage, but it also gives us an idea of the days on market. And again, when we look at this sold status, 13 days, 15 days, 4 days, the longest being on the market at 33 days. So I believe that we will sell your home fairly quickly. Okay? Now, based on the range of houses that I've seen in prices of listing and sale, the condition of your home, comparing them to the other homes in the market, I believe we should list your house in a price range between $395 and $405.
Okay.
Okay? How does that sound to you?
I mean, it's, everybody's talking about how crazy this market is right now, and how, so it's so strange to see some of the information, because from everything I'm hearing from all of my friends and on the media and on Facebook, everything's selling for, well over list price and selling in like 2 days, and I just went to Zillow and it said my house was worth $430. So I guess I'm just really confused. I mean, I see what you showed me, but it's weird that the internet is telling me something completely different.
So let's take a look at Zillow. So what I did is I went to Zillow.
I did not tell him the objections, by the way.
I went to Zillow to see what they were pricing your house at. And they've actually got your house priced less than that.
Oh,
And what's concerning is when we look at Zillow, Zillow has got your house priced at $380.
well, I wonder what I was looking at then.
So I'm not sure, but when I look at the comparables that Zillow used, Zillow is taking comparables that are 6 months old.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, we saw how much it went up, right?
Exactly. So why are they pegging your house at $380? I don't know. But you have to understand how internet companies work. They create an algorithm, and an algorithm simply crunches numbers. It's not taking appreciation into effect, and it's not taking condition into effect. So we have access to another form that's called RPR. And this is a company that's owned by the same company that owns the MLS, so it has accurate numbers to draw from. And you can see, based on its comps that it generated, it's only looking at $349, which is far less than what Zillow is showing,
Yeah.
and far less than what the sold comps of same model matches that I have found. So I have to believe that the algorithms are not accounting for appreciation in our marketplace,
Okay.
Can I
okay?
ask a question? Is that okay?
I don't know how that works. He's not on my team, people.
What I want to say is, so the numbers.
No. Yeah, sorry. Make it out, please, sorry.
All right, so based on the range that I came up with, I created some estimates for you. Because I wanted to give you real dollars and cents to consider
Okay.
for your house. And one other thing, just because a lot of times my sellers are curious about where comps are coming from in relation to their home. You can see that your home here is on Copper Light.
Yeah.
The reds are the model matches that are right near it, the greens are the two that are active, and
Okay.
the yellows are the ones that are under contract.
Okay.
So as a buyer's agent would search, they would search in the area around your home for like properties to consider. And what this map shows us is that there are no model matches to your home on the market at all.
Wow.
So based on those numbers, I created some estimates at 400,000.
Okay.
Now, when I create a range, I want to see what the MLS and what buyers are selling they're willing to pay, but I don't know exactly what your house has to offer until I come here.
Okay.
Now, my philosophy on pricing is to price it to attract as many buyers as we can and create a bidding war where they will offer more, and then you'll have the opportunities to select the best choice for you with multiple offers.
So I guess this is really scaring me now, because where am I gonna go? Am I gonna be able to find a house? Is this gonna be something that I'm gonna have to deal with bidding wars, and what if I can't find a house to move into?
It's very likely. So what I would like to do is, before we place the house on the market,
Okay.
is that you come into the office, we'll do a buyer orientation, we'll
Okay.
create a search together, and then we can start shopping for some houses to get an idea of what your options are.
Okay.
When you're comfortable with the options that you have, knowing that we need to sell your house to buy, then we can pull the trigger on both,
Okay. Thank you.
okay?
Yeah.
All right, so based on a $400,000 price point, what we typically see for escrow fees are the numbers that I've indicated here, our brokered commission, and then because you are in an HOA, there will be some fees paid by the HOA. What we're looking at is a total of about $29,000 in closing costs.
Why is the commission so high?
Well, our company charges 6%. We're a full-service brokerage. Now, on this page, we've got a breakdown of what your net is going to be.
Okay, so what does it mean, brokerage fee to cooperating broker?
So in the fee that you're going to pay our company, we actually pay the buyer's side out of that.
Well, but if it's such a seller's market, can't the buyer just pay for it?
In this market, that's not the norm.
Okay. Can I pay less?
No. So what we have here is a breakdown of our costs at 400,000 minus the payoff of your loan, and the closing cost is gonna net you about $244,000.
Okay. I feel like I see these agents all the time say that they'll list the house for like 1% or like, it seems like the commissions are really high.
No, it's not. It's 6%.
Okay. Okay.
Okay? Now, are you ready to get started?
Yeah, I don't know. I was thinking about possibly interviewing. I did call a couple other companies who had mentioned that their fees weren't quite as high.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, especially in this market, I'm probably gonna need as much money out of my house as possible so that I can spend more money on another house,
Okay.
right?
And so do you believe that the net of 244 is adequate for what you would like to do?
I mean, I'd like as much as I could get.
Okay. And do you believe that I can sell the house and get you that net?
Do you believe that you can?
I know that I can,
Okay. How do you know?
because my 18 years of experience in this market and working in these neighborhoods specifically, so I'm not driving across town to take care of your house in your neighborhood, I'm just down the street.
Okay. There's really nothing you can do about that commission.
No, unfortunately, I don't have the ability to negotiate below 6%. That would have to come from my branch manager. She's not going to allow it,
Okay.
and I can tell you why. Because the only way she would allow it is if you were a repeat client who has closed 4 or 5 other transactions with me. Then she might be able to give you a discount. But at this point, this is our first transaction. She wouldn't be willing to do that.
Okay. You better promise me you're gonna get me the price I want.
Absolutely. I believe this is a minimum,
Okay.
because I believe pricing it here will cause it to go up, so we'll put even more money in your pocket.
Okay.
All right, so are you ready to get started?
Yes, I'm ready to get started.
All right, terrific. How many closes did I give her?
3.
Okay.
He made it very difficult on me to come up with some of the challenges because, I mean, he had already the only other challenge that you guys had wanted me to mention was selling it myself. But everything that he had already shown me had already scared me enough to where I didn't even ask that question because I was looking at it from a buyer's perspective, a seller's perspective, and it was scary to me to do the difference between hearing what I'm hearing on the media, which is why I was asking those questions, because when I was looking at the data he provided me, and I have a feeling he did that on purpose, because the data was showing the houses were not selling in just one day, and yes, they were going above list, but they weren't crazy. And he was incredibly prepared with the Zillow, so he basically just told me that I already had bad data, and so, yeah, he really did not give me a lot of opportunities to present many challenges or many objections to him.
So what if she would have slipped that in? What would your response be?
Which question?
About
Selling it myself.
selling it herself?
Well, selling it yourself, absolutely, but the problem I see with people who try to sell it themselves, especially a single lady, are you willing to let anyone into your house at any time?
No.
So how about if you let me take that off of your plate?
But won't people still be walking through my house?
But what I will make sure is that they will be qualified buyers with agents who know what they're doing.
Okay.
And my question was,
That's a
What
really
if I was a
good
man? That was actually very good.
That was really
That's
good.
Half of me wanted to be offended,
Right.
but the other half was like, yeah. Right?
So
He's
if
just
you,
looking
so,
out for my safety.
so you were, if you were a man, I would say, Melissa, okay,
Mel?
how many hours of the day do you normally work?
At least 10.
Okay, so if you're working 10 hours a day, when are you gonna be home to allow people to see your house?
Well, can't they just buy it without seeing it? You're welcome, Joanna, she's not even here.
Would you consider buying a house that you haven't seen?
I mean, I guess if it looked really great in pictures.
Okay, So let me explain how pictures work. I have an amazing photographer. You will fall in love with your own house from his photographs. I have actually had a client decide not to sell after they've seen his photographs.
Wow,
He's that good.
can he make me look thinner?
He's that good.
I need his information.
It's real.
So my question was, sorry, so my question was when you say Zillow, so you brought that number
Well, first,
because,
was that helpful?
Yeah.
Okay,
so you didn't see what the Zillow price was?
no,
But usually they tell you the right price what they see on Zillow. So what if he's trying to list it for 380 and he see the price 420 on Zillow? How would he handle that?
Then I go back to the comps that they used. Because when I pull up Zillow, I don't just take that number at face value. If you look at the Zillow website, you will see 4 or 5 comps that they're using. You will see 2 stories and single stories mixed together. You will see properties that you're wondering, why are you comparing 2,500 square feet to 1,700 square feet? None of the Zillow's comps make sense. They make it easy to kick Zillow down a curve.
and if I could just add one thing to it, if he would not have been prepared and had that Zillow printout with him, he wouldn't have known if I was calling his bluff. I pulled a number straight out of the air because obviously I didn't even know the property we were looking at today. So I wanted to truly come at it from a perspective of I had no idea what I was gonna be looking at. If he would not have brought that Zillow printout, he may not have known. He shot me down immediately because he was prepared. And he said, well, actually, no, Zillow's pricing your home below where we came up with. So he was so prepared, my objection almost solved it. It was like, well, next. I mean, there was really no objection. So, well done to that.
So does Zillow?
Oh, I'm sorry,
No, I'm sorry.
Angie.
So, all right, let's say she, say like your commission is too high. I wanna go with other, like, I'll see the other, agents, what they will offer, was how you handle that,
Play it out.
like, you know,
I did.
You did, you said it 3 times, no.
Said no.
no, I said, you said no, that's why she's gonna like, okay, you said like that's, 6%, I'm thinking like it's too high for me, I'm gonna talk to other agents.
So if I would not have agreed to
Push
sign,
back,
right.
yes.
So, the way I look at it is, I'm a professional real estate agent. I am not a discount agent. I do not work for a discount company. I will not sell my services for less than I believe that they're worth. Have the prices of gasoline gone down? Has the price of paper gone down? Has the price of ink for your printer gone down? Has the price of your car insurance or the cost of a car gone down? Have the cost of your utilities gone down? With the costs of everything going up, why are real estate agents so willing to cut their price? Why? Because they don't have any confidence in their ability to give a good product.
1% service or 6% service, which one do you want?
And it's not
Yeah.
1%
That's not
service,
1%.
because once somebody sits down for 1%, oh, well, we need to pay the buyer's agent, oh,
Mhm.
well, now it's 4%, oh, and you want photography? Oh, well, there's a cost to that, oh, and you want title and escrow? Oh, well, there'll be a cost to that. So we are full service.
Oh, and you want us to put it on the MLS? Oh, well, then it's different, because they make it office exclusives.
So they have different reasons
Yeah.
why they offer those prices. Now, if you look at the number of homes that they sell, they are far less than what we sell. Why? Because they don't care. They're dealing in volume. So if they close 20%, they close 20%. But what about the clients that are the 80%? Those are the ones who become expired. Okay? Our market today is not normal. Our market in time will equalize.
Yeah.
And when it is equal, those willing to drop their percentages will be out of business.
Yeah.
Because you won't go to them. They don't have the tools, they don't have the resources, they don't have the experience to do it properly.
Absolutely.
I just was gonna ask, cause I'm not really familiar with Zillow, to be honest. They have
No, I just put the address in Zillow,
And
and
it tells
it
you the
runs,
address.
it runs an algorithm that they're running.
Okay. I just wanna know where I would go look for it.
Yeah, just put the address in.
Yeah, still in the
I
house.
do Redfin with mine, I snippet both of them and put them on one sheet, so I have Redfins.
Okay, I love that, then I can be.
And then you prepare.
I had a question. In the presentation, we're not supposed to ask the owner of the home, how much do you think, or how much do you want to sell the house for?
Well, what we saw here is
Maybe
just a
the price
snippet.
says too high or.
What we didn't have was the previous conversations.
Yeah.
Okay, so before I would have gone on the appointment,
The pre-listing.
I would have gone through the pre-listing script, and even before that, I would have asked information like where the current mortgage is at, because I already had that information.
Yeah.
So those phone calls had already taken place.
Remember, we did this on Tuesday. So on Tuesday's class, we went through that entire presentation. And the reason we did that on Tuesday was because now today, he got to focus solely on the property. And remember what we said, a listing presentation is about the property. It's not about him, it's not about anything else, it's about the property and the data. He already did a pre-list package, because we've already done that. So he had already given that, so she already knew, I already knew what the company offered, right? So look at how quickly, I mean, he did that presentation, even with my objections, in about 20 minutes.
That's good.
But in the real life presentation, we don't say like, they didn't say to say just a little bit about you, 2 minutes about you, 2 minutes about the company, or no need at all?
It really just depends on, I'll let you get to that.
It depends on the conversations you've already had.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, obviously, I set the appointment, so I had to talk my way in the door.
And in your pre-list package that you drop off, whether you bind it in the nice big blue binder, that I grabbed from Louise and I forgot to bring out here, whether it's in the nice big blue binder or it's in the binding that we have, the spiral binding, either way, you already dropped that off, so they know who Coldwell Banker is, what we do, where we rank as a company, they know all about us. It'll have a little bit about you in there, maybe some client reviews, things like that, whatever it was that you chose to put together in that pre-list package. So he already did that part, so he doesn't have to sell himself, and then he sold himself on the phone. They did an extensive pre-listing interview on the phone, so when he got here, it was business. And he did exactly what I told you guys I do. Came in prepared with his lockbox and set it on the table.
When I was taking my own pictures, I brought my camera bag in too. So it was sitting on the table, and eyes would go wide when, well, you're ready to go, and it's,
Yeah.
Did you bring the camera that we're doing now?
The Zillow one?
The
Yeah.
360?
The 360?
Yeah.
No, so the 360 camera, for it to work properly, you have to have the listing.
Yeah.
So taking it on the listing appointment is premature, because once your listing is active, when you put the information, you take the pictures in the camera, you're actually able to load it, it syncs right then and there and goes straight to the listing, okay?
And the lockbox is just effective. I mean, I love that he does that. Maybe it's just because we've been doing this so long. I don't know. That was always I think you guys have all heard me talk about it too. Like, I loved how he set his stuff down. That's exactly what I did. He toured the house. That was great. I was trying to be a little on the expressive side for him, but I'm also really good at mirroring personalities, so I was having a hard time being myself.
So I'm an analytical.
He is. And I wasn't my typical personality with him, just because I was feeding off of his personality style with me. So normally all those numbers would just make my head hurt, but for someone who's looking to sell, those numbers make a difference. So it is important to have that data.
And
So for all you expressives out there,
the lockbox helps me remember to get a key.
Yeah.
Because if I don't, I will walk out the door without a key, and then I'll have to go back and get a key to put back in the lockbox. So
Yeah.
a Columbo moment, I bring the lockbox with me.
yeah, and as we discussed the other day, if there were some of you who were not here, I found out you can't release the shackle and keep it released anymore. I used to just keep the shackle released and put the key in and let them put the lockbox on if they weren't ready that day. Because you will get that objection, oh, I'm not ready to have the lockbox on today. Oh, don't worry, just go ahead and pop it on. Well, now I guess you can't keep it unshackled.
Oh, that's new.
I didn't know that either. Who told me that? Stacy
Because
told
I
me.
had mine out and it wouldn't go back in, I had to call Sensory, they locked to reset
said it.
Yeah, so what I had said was, okay, you know what, we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna put the lockbox on the door with no key. Make sure you have your key ready and I will send you a 1-day code. So that's how you handle that.
That's the better way to do it.
That's how you handle that objection. Get that lockbox, you know what, it's better for me to place it for you anyways, make sure it's properly placed, it cannot be removed. But you go ahead, I'll send you a code to put your key in when you're ready for it to go live. So that's a good way to overcome that objection. Still, you want, because the thing with the lockbox, and the reason both of him and I are on the same page, and correct me if this isn't your reason, I bet you it is though, once you have that on there, they've gotta call you to take it off. So you're less likely to get seller's remorse at that point.
Right.
The more you leave that you have to come back for, then the better off you are at keeping that listing, even if they signed in a moment of, wow, he was a really good salesperson. Right? Is that,
So you're showing that you're ready to go.
Yeah.
You may not be ready, but I'm ready.
any other questions? This one a lot quicker. He's just that good,
I know, right?
right? I mean.
Are
Well, what I
you,
thought
can
was
you go
great
with the
was
listing
his,
agreement with her if we have time?
the response
Yeah.
to, the commission. He wasn't gonna have a discussion about it. And he was
Yeah.
very clear about his stance on it.
You know,
But
I think
but I
it
can
works.
back it up if I have to,
Yes,
but I
Yeah.
choose not to.
Right, and you gave her an option, he said, well, the only way that's gonna happen, when we do another transaction, right? And
Not just
my
one.
manager will-
Multiple,
It's
multiple,
one
multiple,
way. Yeah.
multiple. Look, you don't get a multiple discount until you've done multiple transactions.
Yeah.
Okay?
well, and I love you guys, just if you paid attention to it, his confidence in it, it wasn't
Yes.
Yeah.
even, so, the one thing we constantly want you, we try to tell you guys, I'm trying to turn around to everybody, but the one thing we constantly wanna keep reiterating to you is, you're only as good as you are in front of that person, so there was never a moment that he wavered. I did not slip him up in any way, shape, or form, like, he didn't like try to find his words or anything. He was prepared with whatever I threw out at him, which made it very hard for me to give him objections. And I can come up with objections, so he made it sound, he just was like, well, no, and then moved on. And then every time I stopped him, he just as confidently went back. He never tried to talk himself out of it, so sometimes less is more.
Exactly,
The
Be
selling
quiet.
yourself,
equal.
Be quiet.
yeah.
Yep.
Okay, let them break the silence, and, you know, it's a Mike Ferry quote that is, that works for me, and it's in the back of my mind. You know, one of three things are gonna happen today. One, you're going to hire me as your real estate agent. You're not going to hire me as your real estate agent, or I'm gonna decide not to take your listing. And any one of those three is fine. I'm at a place where I don't have to take the listing. If I get a bad vibe, if the house is not right, if the client's not right, if the price is not right, I'll walk. Because I don't need the headache. I don't need the aggravation. I'm here to do business.
But
Yeah,
that
you
day is
sit
today
here.
for all of you though.
Yeah.
So, no,
It
but
should be.
listen to what Alan said, and I love that you just said that, Lisa, because today is that day. Just because you don't have the years and the deals under your belt that Alan does, that doesn't make you any less deserving of being treated the right way.
Yeah.
So if you're dealing with somebody who is, you're foreseeing as a problem, you've gotta remember, you're going to be dealing with them a lot. And if they're a problem now, that's not gonna change, that's just going to get worse, and it is okay. Don't ever chase a commission because you feel like it's your only shot, because the amount of time you take chasing that commission, you could have already had 2 or 3 more. It's okay it's 100% okay to not work with a client if they are not worthy of you.
We're
And that is,
independent contractors. We get to decide who we work with. Somebody creeps you out, if someone wants to lowball you on your commission, don't work with them.
Yeah.
Now, you know, Bob may not wanna hear that, you know, because he wants you to get every deal you can get, but you can't give away what you do for free.
No.
Because guess what's gonna happen as soon as you do? Oh, yeah, no, you're gonna love working with Lisa because she's willing to do it for 1%. So every referral you get is gonna be 1%, and you're not gonna want that.
And if they're a bad client, you're just gonna have a bad attitude about your whole job. I mean,
With
it's gonna
them.
affect other parts of your
Yeah,
job.
when the,
Yeah.
when the
It'll
phone
affect your
rings,
day.
are you really gonna wanna pick that call up?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
And then
I've
we-
got full paying customers over here and I've got this discount customer over here. Discount, go away.
Especially when our guarantee is to carry out the 22 points.
That's right.
You
But
know,
I did-
you're gonna work, that's a lot of work on that
That's
thing.
a lot of
If
work.
you read it, that's a lot of work.
And
a
we
lot of
didn't,
responsibility.
we didn't get there because I pushed for the close.
Yep.
As soon as I gave the net sheet. And then she gave me some objections, I pushed for the close again. And then I would go straight to, because she said yes, I go to the listing agreement. Now, had she said no, I would drop back to the seller services guarantee and listen to the question and then start pointing things out.
Do you wanna run through that since we do have a little bit of time?
That'd be
You
great.
guys wanna run through the seller services?
yes.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, so
So
Melissa.
everyone pay attention.
So Melissa, what separates Coldwell Banker apart from traditional real estate companies is our seller services guarantee. And what we do is we have 22 points of service that we guarantee to our clients. And quite honestly, the guarantee is this. If we're not following the 22 points and you're not satisfied with the service you're getting from me and my company, my branch manager would allow you out of the listing agreement. Now, other brokerages are not going to take that tactic with you. They would hold you to the contract. Oh, sure, they would take your house off the MLS, but they would not allow any other agent to come work for you to get the home sold. We feel that that is the wrong way to do business. So we put what we do in writing and we give you that guarantee. Now, if we go through all 22 of these points, it can take some time, but there are a couple of key issues that I would like to talk about. And client representation is the very first one. And with that is a form that is required by the state. This is what's called a duties owed. This in itself is not a contract, but it is a promise of what real estate agents have to provide duties to their clients. Now, the first section is all licensees involved in the transaction. And the most important part to that for me is the very first line. And agents are not to deal with any party in the transaction in a manner that is deceitful, fraudulent, or dishonest. We have to follow state law and tell the truth. Now, the second section are the duties that are owed to you specifically by me as your agent. And again, the first line is the most important, where I am to exercise reasonable skill and care in carrying out the brokerage agreement. And that brokerage agreement is the listing agreement. So in Nevada, the state will allow a real estate agent to represent both sides of a transaction. But what the state wants you to know is that you have the right to decide if you'll allow that or not. So there is a simple may or may not section that'll have you initial. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some of the pressure off of you. I'm gonna have you initial in the may not, stating that I am not allowed to represent both parties in the transaction. And why I do that is because you've hired me to be your real estate agent. My job is to get the highest possible price in the shortest amount of time for you. When I work with a buyer, my job is to get the best possible deal for them. So for me, it's a conflict of interest. Now, this doesn't mean that I won't try to find a buyer for your home. But if I do, and your house is perfect for one of them, I would come back to you and then we can have a conversation at that time. How does that sound?
That sounds very fair.
Great, so
I like
what I
that,
would
thank
have you do is initial in the may not, then I'm gonna have you sign as the seller, date and time the document.
Okay, perfect.
That's good.
Duties over. Okay, first document signed, now she is signed and she's comfortable with signing. If I can get her comfortable signing documents by the time we get to the listing agreement, it's not big and scary anymore. Okay? So Melissa, this next one is really going to be on you. So when we talk about seller disclosures, again, the state requires that you complete a document called the seller's real property disclosure.
Oh my goodness,
Yes, so
usually what they say.
this is a document that is going to inform the buyer of what you know about your home. The state does not expect you to be a contractor, they don't expect you to be a plumber or an electrician. But since you live in the home, you should know what works and what doesn't work.
Okay.
Okay, so the first page is very simple. Are you aware of any problems or defects with any of the following? It's a simple yes, no, or not applicable,
Okay.
okay? So as long as you don't have a problem, you'll check no, and if you don't have the item, you'll hit NA.
Okay.
Now, if you do currently have a problem with an item, before you check yes, let's discuss it,
Okay.
okay? Everybody got it? All right, now, page 2. Now, the second page, yes, no, only one not applicable, because that comes to swimming pools, and you don't have a swimming pool. Are you aware of any conditions that are currently going on? So are you aware of any of the following? It's a simple yes or no. If you're going to mark yes, we're going to write an explanation on page 3.
Okay.
Be mindful, when we get down to sections 8 and 9, because you live in a homeowners association and you do have shared walls with your neighbors, these will be yeses.
Okay.
And then the client goes through and checks the boxes. Oh my goodness, there's a yes. All right, terrific. You're gonna simply write an explanation on page 3 of those yeses. Now, pages 4 and 5 are the Nevada revised statutes of why you had to fill this out for the buyer and what this means to them in case they believe that you were to lie about the condition of your home. So we wanna make sure that you tell the truth and you're gonna sign and date.
Okay.
So
What
now,
happens if I accidentally forgot something?
well, if you accidentally forget something, you can always call me and we can add it to it later.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm just gonna stop really quick. So one thing I forgot to mention to you guys too. When he presented me with the net sheet at the end of the financial part, he completely got through my commission concerns up front, which is the scariest part of a listing presentation, wouldn't you agree? When you're having them sign the listing contract, right? I mean, that's your scariest part. You're like, okay, we finally got here, now are they gonna say no? You know, I see a lot of times people are like, oh, I should just leave that blank. Absolutely not. We already talked commission, so when he gets to that part of the listing agreement, there's not even a conversation to be had, because we've already had the discussion. So I had meant to mention that earlier and I forgot. So that was, honestly, I love that. I had never done that before. So I loved that part. If I was still doing presentations, I would steal that and revise mine.
Comps set the price. The net sheet sets the numbers.
Yeah.
It's not changing. That's it.
Yeah.
You're either gonna hire me or you're not.
That was brilliant. So I hope everybody changes their presentation based on that, because I never presented that way, and that's fantastic. I love that.
How did you do it?
I typically, so for me, we have definitely way different personality styles, so I am not analytical, so I would never be going through the numbers like that. I would have never brought as many comparables. I would have done things a little bit different. I would probably have 3 actives, 3 solds, and I'd have the price range. And then I would have just kind of gone through it. I would have probably talked a little bit more about the house, just because that's what I do. And then I'm a very assumptive closer, so I would have already had everything pre-filled in already. And then I just talk about it. Oh, here's the compensation. This is what we.
This is the actual listing agreement that the lease is sitting in tomorrow.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
all filled out.
Is it? Yeah.
This is a listing
Perfect.
agreement that will be signed tomorrow.
Yes.
This is for real?
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, all
So
of this is real.
I honestly wouldn't have even addressed it. I have them look through the contract. I wait for them to mention, and then I would have gone through very similarly to the way Alan did. I wouldn't have maybe been as no about it, so I love that. But I would not talk too much about it.
I like the
And then continue, but I love the fact that he had already gotten rid of that objection, so that it just makes that much easier when you're in the listing agreement.
And you
I love
already
that.
showed them like what they were gonna make and everything.
Yes.
'Cause I had that like at the end, like.
No, it's a net. Get it out of the way up front.
No,
Look,
I-
Yeah, that's good.
Once,
It's phenomenal.
once you can show them what they're gonna make, and most of them are gonna be shocked. The
Just take
commission's not an issue.
Yeah, it takes a weight off, like, at the beginning.
100%.
Yeah.
No, I love that. I would,
So
revise mine immediately.
the other thing about the seller services guarantee, is this the first time they've sold a house? If this is the first time they've sold a house, they're gonna have a lot of questions, and going through the seller services guarantee answers the questions, and you will move faster. If they've bought and sold houses several times, the conversations that led me to this point will tell me the key indicators that I am going to bring up through the seller services guarantee. But I'm going to take the time to get everything signed while I'm there. So the next document to sign would be about the home warranty.
Okay,
So
sorry,
I- so
yes,
I
I
would
did
ask-
interrupt that.
Melissa, do you currently have a home warranty on your house?
I don't know.
Okay, well, I would think you would know or not. Are you paying someone like American Home Shield on a monthly basis?
Is that like my homeowner's insurance?
Well, kind of, except this is going to fix things if they break inside the house.
No, I don't.
Okay, so.
That's really how people respond to you, by the way, which is why I did that.
Yeah,
So Coldwell Banker, as a full-service brokerage, has a relationship with American Home Shield. And
Okay.
what we can do is we can put seller's coverage on your home during the listing period. That way, if there was something to go wrong, it could be covered by American Home Shield. They will cover the air conditioner, the water heater, electrical, and certain plumbing issues. Now, it's free coverage for you. What American Home Shield would like is that you would offer a home warranty to the buyer when they close on the property. But I'm gonna be honest with you, in this market, buyers are not asking for home warranties because they want their offers accepted. So they're being competitive in what they ask for. So, if you don't have a home warranty on the house, this is a great free coverage.
Okay.
And it won't cost you anything unless we end up offering it to a buyer.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay. That's it, it's that simple. Then they sign it, and it goes into the file. Okay? So, one of the things that is very important to me, to be able to market your house, is our sign. So on our sign, it's going to have my contact information, so if anyone drives up, they know who to contact about the house. But more importantly, we put on the sign a sign rider that has a home fax number. Now, the home fax is a call capture system. If we were to put brochures on the sign, someone pulls up, they run out of the car, they grab a brochure, they hop in the car and they drive away. We don't know who they are. With the home fax line, someone pulls up, they say, oh, well, this house looks really cute. Let's get some more information. They are listening to a professional voiceover talent give you information about your home.
That's pretty cool.
While they're doing that, the system is sending me a text and an email to let me know someone is calling on the home with their cell number.
Wow.
If they use the text option, it sends them a text with information about the house and then also alerts me. I have the opportunity to call them back while they're still sitting outside the house,
Wow, pretty fancy.
okay? So our sign is very important.
So non-reactive cracks me up. I'm trying.
So what I need to do is get your permission to be able to put the sign out, so I would have you
Okay.
sign here.
Yeah, do people say no?
Every once in a while, we'll get someone who is gonna say, well, I don't want my neighbors to know I'm selling the house. Okay.
Silly.
Well, when they tell me that, I say, well, unfortunately, they're going to know, because starting tomorrow, I'll be door knocking the neighborhood, letting everyone know that your house is for sale.
Wow, you do that too?
I do that too. So when we come down into our marketing, when we talk about every day until it's sold, our marketing plan, we hit every single way to promote your home. We are on
I
social
didn't even
media.
know people did that.
We are on social media, so we will be placing it on Facebook and Trulia and all of the other social media platforms. We are going to migrate the listing out to all of the Zillow, Redfin, all of the third-party websites. We're going to create your own YouTube channel. So what we will do is, with our photographs and our professional voiceover talent, a YouTube channel will be created specifically for your home. So we will also do traditional marketing with postcards and door knocking and host the home open if you believe that an open house will work for you.
Does that cost anything extra?
This is all in what we do. Again, we're a full-service brokerage.
Very nice. I like that, thank you.
All right, great. So one of the other things that we have is a concierge service. Now, we call it something different now, as our premier service providers, but it took me a long time to be able to say concierge service. So what I've done is I've printed up a list of a directory of the different businesses that we've checked out. If you have some things around the house that you would like to get done, this is a great place to go. Since we're going to be shopping for a home soon, if we have some things that you would like to get done in that house after you purchase it, it's a great resource for that as well. Now, one of the other things that we've done is we've put together all of the utility information in case you might have forgotten who to contact when it's time to turn off and turn on the utilities. Again, we're a full-service company.
Cool, thank you.
Now, there are some disclosures that our company and the state require that I deliver to you. So this next section of information will be those disclosures. And then I go over COVID disclosure, the RESPA disclosure, the residential disclosure guide, and the wire fraud. Okay? Because in the listing agreement, there is a section that they are initialing that they've received the Nevada Residential Disclosure Guide. So it's a good idea to give it to them. And then in that same section is the seller's real property disclosure, and she's already signed it. So we're already ahead of the game.
I love it.
Can I ask one more question? So you know how you said that she has to sell, you know, you're kind of selling and buying at the same time. So when she signs that listing agreement, what do you date it for the day that she signs it, but you're not listing it yet, right? So is that, how does that work? Because that's where I messed up. I did coming soon, and I feel like I just shouldn't have listed until they were completely out and ready. And I felt like it would have been a better start, and I would have looked better because now they're taking a little longer to get out, things like that. So how can I take a listing and get it signed and get the agreement, but it's not gonna happen for like a month?
So it's about options. Okay, now my personal belief in our market, coming soon is not needed.
Right.
Okay, if we had properties sitting on the market for any length of time, then coming soon gives you the advantage to get some open houses going, get some marketing going, because you're saying coming soon. Okay, in this market, I don't see the need, but I understand wanting to get the listing agreement signed. So the listing agreement has 3 dates on it that have to be signed to have a valid contract. Begin date, the end date, and the date that the broker signs it. The signature in the back that the seller signs does not make it a valid contract. It's simply the date that they signed it. Now, I can begin the listing based on the needs of the client. The reason I select a date there is because per the MLS rules, I have 24 hours to get it into the MLS after we have a begin date.
And if I can add one thing on that, from the broker standpoint of it, just so you guys know, they can sign a listing agreement. The date they sign does not have to match the listing begin date. If you sign it today, so say I'm signing this today, but we've already agreed I'm not listing my house until March the 15th, it will be March the 15th through March the 15th, right? So one has nothing to do with the other. And then if they say, you know what, I'm ready sooner, well, a change order will fix that really quickly. You just do an MLS change order to change the listing date. And you're set.
Still send it all in, just
No,
with.
no, not until I'm ready to put it into the MLS, because Bay doesn't activate until you have the data sheet turned in and you're live on the MLS. I'm not doing any marketing, I'm not doing anything with it. If the house needs to be painted, or we need to declutter, I need to get my photographer in, things like that are going to come up. But what I don't want is them interviewing another agent in 2 weeks.
Yes.
I want it signed today, because once I have everything signed, they believe we're in contract. Technically, until the broker signs it, we're not even in contract. Okay? So, what we wanna do is get the listing going as soon as possible. I'm gonna listen to what the client needs before I move forward. If the client needs to buy another house, well, let's do this, let's go look at some houses. Let's make sure that you have another house to go to, because I'm confident I'm gonna get this house sold rather quickly.
Which signature y'all talking about? Like, you said it's 3? That,
On the listing agreement,
Dates.
yeah.
Dates,
oh, the date.
dates.
And one thing with Alan doing that as well, if I'm willing to go out and look at homes with him as a buyer, he's got me, right? I mean, unless something weird were to happen with us while looking at houses or something like that, whether there was some kind of a personality conflict, I mean, it would have to be something really random. If I'm willing to go out and look at houses with him, we're already working together. Like, it's already an implied relationship, so he's not gonna have a problem getting me to sign that listing agreement, cause we are already doing things together.
And the client that I have coming in tomorrow is doing that. It's gonna be a buy and sell. So they're gonna come in, I'm gonna do a buyer orientation, I'm gonna show them what I have for the listing side, and then we're gonna start looking.
Did you get someone to do that with you yet?
Luis is gonna sit in.
Perfect. Cool. Awesome. Any other questions? I think we're, Brett, look at you, 12 on the dot.
Yeah.
Oh, he's been, see, that's what, he's been looking at the clock the whole time. See?
It's been said that
He's
Alan's a
sly.
Jedi.
He is, pretty good. Got any other questions whatsoever? No?
That was awesome.
Fantastic job! Round of applause for Alan for sure.
Good job, Coach. Thank you, Melissa. You can get an Academy Award for that.
He was so prepared though, I mean, he made it tough.
Right.
Thank you.